little cat attack. How are you doing? How's your Tuesday going? Hi, everyone. Pretty good. That's nice to hear. Can y'all hear me clear? Because sometimes I have audio issues. So, on this live, I'm going to, kind of obvious from the title, but talk a little bit about, hi Missy, hi Michael, GTRGRLY, something girly. On this live, I'm going to talk about, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Guitar girly, I should have got that. Oh my goodness, it's so obvious now. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It takes a lot for me to do the videos sometimes because I get a little bit nervous or whatever. But you know, that's only natural. Thank you, girls. Thank you, guys. So on this video, I'm going to talk about the Dr. Phil episode, which I'm sure many of you caught. To go over some of the updates. You just finished it? Yeah, me too. To go over some of the updates of the case and some of the facts and to talk about some of the theories. So, let me stop hitting the desk. The first thing that I want to make clear that I don't think a lot of the YouTubers who are coming on here are guessing is that it doesn't really matter if your theory or if your opinion is correct or not, because this whole case is really about Shanann and Bella and Celeste and little baby Nico. It's about them. It's not really about everybody else. And it's very important, at least in my thinking, that we're looking for the truth and we're also looking for honoring and honoring them. So, with that said, I want to discuss a little bit about what Shanann's attorneys talked about and a little bit on what Dr. Phil talked about. Let me get my notes ready. Oh, and another thing, I'm going to be putting out another video, hopefully, oh my God, hopefully by this weekend, a case that has sat with me for a while, and I really hope that you guys check it out. Alright, so one of the things that Shanann's attorney or attorneys wanted to make clear is that the purpose for the family speaking out is that they wanted to make sure that the people knew, as well as Chris really coming forward to clear Shanann's name, which I think is really important because there are a lot of people all over the internet bashing Shanann for her personality or for some of her quirks. So I'm glad at least out of this confession, they, or at least Chris did, come out and say that he was the one that killed the children. All right. What did some of you guys think about the Dr. Phil episode? Why do you think he finally told the truth? I think that's a really great question. They said, the attorney said that he finally told the truth because of the jailhouse religion. and that he feels remorseful. Although I don't think that, at the same time, I don't think that's really the reason why he confessed, but I feel like we won't find out more of that information until the 7th, when they actually release a 5-hour conversation. And I was surprised that it was that long of a conversation. And they said that there were many, many detectives all in one room with him, going over detail by detail of what actually really happened. I agree that he was alive at the oil site because she had oil in her stomach. That's one of the things that they touched on, that he actually brought them with him in the car for that 45-minute drive to the oil site, which, when I was looking at the facts prior to today and then hearing about what he actually did or what he had told the family, it's just absolutely devastating that somebody would even reach that far or do something as horrendous as that. I mean, what he did before was very shocking, and I just could not believe that a human being would do something like that. And I feel like with this case, every time there's a little bit of information that comes through, it seems like the is worse and worse and worse about this case. I don't understand why he brought them to the oil tanks alive if he was planning on killing them. I honestly thought he killed the girls before Shanann got home. That's exactly what I thought. I don't know what his thinking was of bringing them with him, unless he just ran out of time. I don't know. That's a really good question. And I hope that when his confession is released, that we get more clarity on that. What I thought was interesting during the Dr. Phil episode was the attorneys kept on saying, you know, this is Chris's current version of the truth, and he has not been offered any kind of deal or any kind of trades. It was just that he felt really remorseful, and it was due to his jailhouse religion that he decided to come to give more detail. I also wondered at the time when I heard that, you know, I wonder if this, I mean, obviously it hurt Shanann's family even more, but was there a little bit of malice in there to reveal these details? But at the same time, I'm thinking, because towards the end of the episode, they said that they are looking into another person. They didn't necessarily say it was North Korea, but they did say somebody else might possibly be involved. I just can't bring myself to believe it. Why the trash bags? The 2 bags were found in the field near the sheep by Shanann's grave. Yeah, and I also wonder, you know, I thought he put them in the trash bag. Put the 2 girls in the trash bags. However, he said he put them in the floorboard of the truck, on the floorboard of the truck. But then again, I think, you know, what happened to the blankets? Because he also said he smothered them with the blankets. Another thing I thought was very weird, that the attorney said that when they went to meet with Chris, they said it was eerie because it was like talking to a neighbor, or talking, what they say, it was like calling a neighbor. He was friendly and he was glad to hear from the attorneys. Now, when I watch some of these crime shows or some of these shows about, you know, the inmates in the jail, sometimes they get this feeling of being wanted from the media. And I also wonder, I wonder if he's doing this for a little bit more media attention. Oh, thanks, Genuine. For her sake, I hope she was sleeping. Well, they said in the Dr. Phil episode that Chris had said that she got home, they got into an argument, but then they made up. But then they got into another argument, and he told her that he was having an affair and that they were going to get a divorce. And when she said something like, well, you're not going to have the children, that's when Chris decided that's when Chris attacked her. Which I kind of find that odd. If you've already stated to your spouse that you've had an affair and you're leaving, I just don't see how that can bring up so much rage after somebody saying that you're not going to take the children, you're never going to see the children, to hurt somebody. Chris was observed by an undercover police officer moving items from the truck to the Lexus. Where did you hear that? Moving items. Oh, wait, I remember something in the case files saying they were watching him. I can't remember. Is it in the case files? Yeah, that's another thing that they said. To take the heat off North Korea, the attorneys were speculating that he was trying to cover for somebody. But you would think that with how much time has gone, and I don't know if she's contacted him or not, but you would think that she's not. Yeah, but I think he was premeditated. Yeah, but I think he premeditated it because he was looking into Survey 7. That's another thing that they stated on Dr. Phil. I think it was premeditated. I don't think that it was a crime of passion. I mean, Dr. Phil even brought up a good point that when you watch him talk to the news, he didn't have any stress lines on his face. You would think that somebody who had done something that was unplanned would be overthinking everything, would be very agitated, would be very nervous, and he was just calm. But I also think because of the barbecue and the text messages to his coworkers, I mean, that's, to me at least, is premeditation. Yep. When he went to his neighbor and asked about his security camera and what could be seen, also according to Discovery, he is stopped for 4 minutes at the house in their neighborhood. Yeah, I remember that. Let me see if there's anything else that I wrote. Oh, I thought it was interesting that Shanann, or excuse me, hold on one second. Do you know what channel the detectives will be on? I think it's Dr. Phil. Are you talking about on the 7th? I think they're just going to do a press conference. I'm not sure what channel it'll be on yet. But I assume it's going to be on just like your local news or even the national news for a press conference because it's a high-profile case. If you have not seen the Dr. Phil episode, there's definitely a way that you can watch it. If you go onto Google and you just type in Daily Motion Dr. Phil, it'll pop up real quick. Let me see. There's a thought that I had before. Okay, I said all this. Sorry guys. I think that Chris's story is still embellished. It's on YouTube too. Oh, that's good. I think his truth is still embellished. I know that they said that Bella is a really smart girl, but some of the language that she's using, maybe he just said it in his own way of comprehending his words, but it seemed a little bit, I don't even know what the word is. Some of the words that she said just seemed a little bit too advanced for her. Especially the part when she says, when she's in the car, and he said that she said something about, don't do to me what you did to Cecil. I mean, that's really heartbreaking to hear, but at the same time, and I really hope that she didn't have that type of, you know, awareness, but at the same time, when you think about everything that he's confessing to, it's kind of hard not to think that maybe she had some type of understanding of what was going on. I would hope that it's not to that extent. Rephrase, as an adult would phrase that, yeah. I don't think that those were her exact words. No, I don't think so either. I'm sure she knew too. I'm sure she knew something was up and it wasn't going to end well. Oh, I remember what I was going to say earlier. That what we heard in the Dr. Phil episode, Shanann's family did not hear those words directly from Chris. They heard it from a different source. So I'm interested in hearing what is actually said on the 7th to see if it's somewhat the same. I wonder whether he's going to open up about North Korea or not. I mean, it's been so long, I feel like he's not going to. I feel like he would protect her until whenever. But I also thought it was interesting that the attorney said they weren't investigating NK, but they were looking at somebody else. Although maybe they had to say that because it's still an open investigation. It is very difficult to believe anything he says. He's a complete deviant. Yeah. I think that he has... I don't think we're ever going to hear the real truth. We're always going to hear... the story's always going to change, in my thinking. I also thought it was interesting, you know, he stated that while he got to the oil site, he just dropped Shanann on the dirt. You know, I just find it so hard to believe that he would be there with the girls alive. And it's very... You don't know who's going to show up at the site. Even if you text somebody and tell them, I'll take care of it, this and that. It's just so unpredictable. And for him to have to take such a risk to do something like that, it's just so... I can't even, like, comprehend it. He wanted another life. He got it. I like that. I agree. I think the story will always change. He's concerned about how he appears to others. Yeah, he definitely is, and we saw that in his interrogation. He didn't want to go to the survey because he didn't want to see his coworkers. It was very obvious. And I even think that when he took the lie detector, one of the first few things he said is, I'm not a monster, and nobody had even suggested that he was a monster. Oh my God, the Susan Powell case. Absolutely, that's one of the cases I'm looking at, and you will see very soon. That case is very difficult for me. I've been working on this video and collecting facts for a while, but sometimes when I make these videos or I go into reading about the facts, sometimes I have to take breaks because it becomes really heavy, which is why I took that month-long break, because I was really consumed with the Chris Watts case. And you know, whenever you start to feel really down and you just have to take a break, you have to step away for a little bit. The Susan Powell case, that case is the one where the husband was seeing his children in a supervised visit, and he ran into the house with the children. He set the house on fire and he killed his children. If you Google it, you'll remember. It was all over. And if you're really interested in this case, what I'm doing right now is I'm listening to a podcast called Cold. And it's very detailed. Her body has not been found. And the purpose of that podcast is to see if they can help find her. Yeah, the podcast is called Cold. Absolutely. It's a really good podcast. You know what I wonder, where is NK? Obviously she left the state, but where is she? Yeah, they took the two boys camping. The dad took the two boys camping in the middle of the night. I think there was also, it was like a blizzard out as well. Similar to how Chris took the girls to bury Shanann. I wonder why the attorney said that Chris is trying to make the case seem like a crime of passion when clearly we all know that it wasn't. But at this point, if he's admitting to being the one who killed everybody, how would he benefit from making the case seem like a crime of passion? Do you guys have thoughts on that? Absolutely deranged, yeah. Well, even Dr. Phil said that the reason why it's so hard for anybody else to really understand how you can get to that place. Oh, what did he say in that? I can't remember what he said. What did he say? Oh my God. At the same time, when he said it, I was like, oh my God, that's absolutely correct. But it's just hard for people to get to that place because there's just something off. Premeditation. Oh, and then he also said something about, you know, once Chris started, he couldn't stop. I just don't understand how he can look at his girls or drive 45 minutes with his girls if that is the truth. You know, it just seems so devastating. Premeditation gets way worse of a sentence. Maybe he thinks there's a chance of an appeal. I heard that when I was looking at some videos yesterday, when there was like a few snippets of the confession coming out, that somebody said that he was going to do an appeal, but then they debunked it. But can he do an appeal now? Oh, Paula Brown, you're watching it right now? Yeah, you know when he cranks up that song Battery, the job is done. He is so into himself at that time. Have you guys looked up the lyrics to that song? We can't comprehend because their brains are wired differently, yeah. I went on, during my second video on Chris Watts, I was going to add a section about the lyrics, and I wanted to look up people's comments on the lyrics prior to the case to see what their impression of Battery was, and it's absolutely disturbing. Everybody on there was talking about it's about absolute rage and feeling, you know, mightier than mighty, feeling like you can take on anything, you know. And then you had some of those people who are real Metallica fans, and they're saying that it's actually about, you know, a club that Metallica first played their first concert at. But many of the comments on there, their impression of the song was about going and knocking somebody out or hurting somebody, stuff like that. And I mean, with the two types of options, you know, Chris is probably taking the version of the absolute power, the feeling of absolute power. A malignant narcissist, he did. He also called him, I'll paraphrase, SOB. Did you hear that? I think within the first 2 minutes of the video. If you think, if what the are saying is true and they have not spoken to NK yet, who do you guys think they have spoken to? Or who do you think that they think helped him? I remember somebody on another video, a couple of comments, they asked, yeah, if I think that the parents are crazy, and I said I did not think that they're crazy. I just think that everybody's very dependent on each other. But I also think that they could have put words in his head. And when all of this started, where they started advertising for the Dr. Phil episode and saying new information was going to come out, didn't the dad say something about it's over and done with? And that just broke my heart to pieces, because how can you think it's just black and white like that? Like, it's done, get over it, almost in that type of way, you know? Although I still think, because his dad did know about the affair, I would not be surprised if they had put words in his head. She's the only one that makes sense to have helped if he didn't act alone. He's dismissive. I think Chris Watts planned to kill wife and not the girls, but daughter saw what happened and he knew she would tell, so he killed them too. You know, I thought that at first, but it's weird because he claims that he gave them an excuse of mommy's sick, we have to take her to the hospital. But then again, if the police were coming around and he was being investigated, they would definitely talk to the girls and they would find that information out. And obviously she didn't go to the hospital. They would know something's up. I believe it was all on him. He wanted a new life and thought he could kill Shanann and not the children. Then said she left him and the children. Yeah, that is weird. how Chris took pics at his parents' home, including a portrait of their family. I wonder, you think he was planning on like disappearing completely? Like if nobody had noticed that Shanann was gone and nobody noticed the children were gone and his plan worked out? Maybe he was planning on disappearing for quite some time and taking some family photos, you know, or taking pictures of the family photos was a way to keep connected. I don't think he meant it like that. I just think for his dad, nothing is going to make any of this different. I also wonder what the full soundbite of that conversation was, if the person who wrote the article only put that little piece in, or not. I mean, when I think about their interviews on TV, I just feel like the parents are closed off and are... Sorry, Rich is home and Zombie was barking. I feel like the parents are very closed off and in some moments very insensitive to Shanann's family as well as their grandchildren. Maybe the girls were crying their heads off in the back of the truck and Chris just lost his mind and killed them. I don't know about that. I just, you know, I also thought about this last night. If he did in the car, the truck that he was riding in, it was watching his speed. And you would think that after evil acts that he did, that maybe he'd be speeding or like his driving would be inconsistent, especially if the girls are in the back of the truck. But I guess that didn't get brought up or wasn't seen, that there were irregularities or anything. That's what I'm saying. Almost like he thought he wouldn't be back, yeah. I'm sure they were distraught completely. There's no win for anybody in this case, whether it's Chris's family or if it's Shanann's family. But at the same time, I feel there should be some type of sensitivity between both parties. Maybe the driving calmed him down. I don't know how that could be if he supposedly has the girls in the back of the truck sitting there. It's very disturbing. He had 45 minutes to drive and think about what he did and was about to do. Yeah. There is no stopping anything for him. It was as if it was all or nothing for him. I don't know if you're going to be able to see Rich, but he's in the back hiding. I also just don't see how... I know there's the video out with the armchair detective seeing the shadows and stuff, but the more I think about, you know, some of the information that Shanann had said about the girls being all over the place, maybe they were just terrified in the house, which kept them from running in and out of the house. Because you would think that they would run out or something. I also thought, just now I was thinking about going back to watch the doorbell cam, because wouldn't the doorbell cam have a view of the truck? Or did he turn off the security system so it would not catch his truck? Hey. called his parents and asked for help if they were still alive. I just also don't understand this. Remember that night? North Korea said that she called him. The beds were already stripped. He said he was washing the girls' bedspreads because they smelled. He was acting strange. I mean, either she made that all up, or why when he tells the truth does it seem inconsistent? His truth never seems, I just feel like at the same time he's still not telling everything, because it just is not, it's, what he says is contradictory of his actions. Excuse me. Yeah, a last cruel act towards Shanann's family. I mean, what they were really hoping for was for Chris to clear Shanann's name, and it's like he gave way more detail than they really needed in their hearts. That's what they said on Dr. Phil, is that Shanann's family was told that Chris put the girls in the back of the truck on the flatbed. It's okay. It's alright if you missed it. How could he bring the girls back home after ditching Shanann if it wasn't premeditated? He couldn't. There's no way. Yeah, he never makes sense. What else do you guys think that Chris will divulge in his conversation on the 7th? Do you think it's going to be the same that we heard during the Dr. Phil episode? Do you think do you think the story is going to change again? I also wonder who the source was that told Shanann's family. I think it's worse than we will ever know. Oh, bye, Sarah. I'm seeing some of these comments late. Sorry about that. Well, her attorneys didn't say who informed them of the information. It could have been the detectives who were there. Yes, it is. That's what they said during the episode, that it was 5 hours long. What could he say for 5 hours? I wonder if the 5 hours are just like his previous confessions, where they were saying, come on, you got to tell us the truth. And his story kept changing and changing until they got to something that sounded like the truth. It is almost kinder to believe that, genuine. I just can't even imagine it. Absolutely horrible if what he's saying is the truth. Exactly. We all know he can blather on for hours. He loves to talk to himself. I wonder what his parents are thinking right now. I don't even know, because they went on TV defending him and saying that Shanann had done everything. And they gave somewhat of an apology during the sentencing. But now he's actually really saying that he did it. I thought it was also interesting. I read in an article that they had said that they talked to him every single night. Come here. I wonder about Chris's sister. I don't think she's ever made a comment about everything that's going on. Oh, thank you. This is Zombie. He's 9. He's a little rescue dog. And I've seen some people have commented that they had dogs, and I went on some of y'all's channels and I checked out your cute dogs as well. Yeah, he's hungry right now. That's why he's kind of being a little bit bratty. Oh, he might be a little bit barky in the background. Do you think that Chris would be able to appeal based off of this confession? I really don't think that there's a way, because he already, I mean, the process has already begun. Try to hide and not be associated. I think that's a smart move for her. It was very traumatizing. You know, I thought the information in the episode was very factual, but at the same time, what I don't like about Dr. Phil is that he creates this sensationalism around his episodes, with going from the title of his episode to, you know, how he talks about things sometimes. But I'm glad that he actually let the attorney speak, because sometimes whenever he has the episodes or he's with people, he kind of like butts in to what they're actually saying. They said he could be covering for someone, yeah. I mean, if he's going to cover for anyone, it's either going to be NK or his dad. I don't see him covering for his mom. But who knows? I wonder how he is doing in prison. I mean, he's in solitary confinement, but doesn't he at times associate with other prisoners? Or maybe, you know what I kind of thought? Well, I don't know. Because they said that the detectives went to him. He did not summon the detectives there. Or at least that's what I read. But I also thought, well, if he did summon the detectives, could it have been employed to continue to stay in solitary confinement longer? Can its parents pursue the death penalty still? Does anybody know that? Oh, is she? Defending her brother through others. And I understand having love for family, but when somebody does something so just disgusting and vile, like there has to be a point. I don't know. There has to be a point. You don't think that they ever would pursue the death penalty? Was it part of the plea deal? Because I feel like if it was part of the plea deal, why would they wait so long to go back and get the information when they could have said it during the sentencing? I mean, he gave his version of the truth during the sentencing. And that's what everybody was going to accept at that moment. But why go back unless there's more to the story? Hi, how are you, Republican Ash and Republican Abigail? I like that name, Abigail and Ash. No double jeopardy. I don't think he will last long. I didn't think so either, but he seems to be the type of person who is just okay being where he is. I mean, remember in the Discovery Files when it talked about his demeanor? He sat on the bed, he read, like he was so strangely normal. Sitting on the bed, staring at space, being polite, like that's so creepy. It's so creepy after you know what and who he is, what he has done and who he is. This question again, do you think they will change his mind and give him the death penalty? I don't think that they can. People are saying that they cannot. I think if they did have a choice, I don't think they still would. Zaza. I don't think that they still would, because I remember initially they said it was against their values, and I think they would stick to that. I think Shanann's family is a very straightforward type of people, and they stick to their core values. It seems that way. Hi, Northern Ireland. Reggie. I agree with that, him. Because he is a robot, has to be told what to do. People are saying, hi, Zaza. Do any of you, are any of you subscribed to the Mommy Rambling blog? If not, I would suggest that you go and you would subscribe to her, because she does amazing analysis. True Crime Troy, I checked out your videos. Hi. Agree about him being okay with his life now. He's like a zombie, it sounds like. Oh no, it's okay. No offense to your pooch. They're strict Catholics. They believe that it's God's job to decide if Chris should die and go to you-know-where or stay alive. Maybe he's trying to get people to hate him so somebody will kill him in prison. Maybe he wants that. I mean, people really despise him now more than before. That's an interesting take, that he can't do it himself, so he's trying to get somebody else to. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if he's going to do something like that, then he would just cause drama in the jail, in the prison, to have somebody hurt him. I mean, I'm sure it's not a secret at that prison. I was watching a show called 60 Days Locked In during the summer, and news travels faster and fast in prison. So I'm very sure even before he got there, people knew. he doesn't seem to have a mind of his own. His family are Baptists. You can be redeemed. They don't believe you can be redeemed unless you confess your sins, right? Hey.
Hi.
Zombie's hungry.
I know. Want that chow?
The best thing that has come from this confession is clearing Shanann's name and allowing her memory to be one of a loving mother, particularly in the eyes of her family and friends. Yeah. Yeah, I think I stated this in the beginning that for those of you who weren't here, that there's a lot of things going on YouTube about whose theory is right and who's not, and it's not, true crime is not about that. This case is not about that. It's about the victims. Yeah, I remember when Dr. Phil said that, or the attorney said that he said he found God. I don't know what kind of I don't know. I don't even know if I want to even speak on that. I think it is a great thing that Shanann has been cleared, though, because there are a lot of... Can you guys see me? My live stopped for a second. Can you see me? Hopefully. Sorry that it stopped. Hopefully you can see me. Let me know. Can you see me? Yes? No? Okay, well, I can see you. Let me refresh this. Yes, I agree. The speculation is put to rest. That's the best thing that's come of this. Yeah. Pause for a second, but you're fine now. Thank you, True Crime Troy. Let me know. 1 second. Was he locked up with Stephen Avery? They're in the same prison. They're just locked up in the same prison. He probably confessed because he's going to end his life, and maybe he read that if he confesses his sins, he will go to heaven. So he's probably going to end his life so he can go to heaven and not sit in prison. I don't know. At first, I thought, I thought he would be the type that would, commit suicide in prison shortly after the murders. But I just don't know about him. He is a very odd individual, and like many of you have said, robot-like, where he just takes orders from people. And like he has nothing. Like he's nothing inside that makes him, like he has no motivation to do anything by himself. Yeah, creepy mysteries. I like the way that you put that. He's full of creepy mysteries. I think somebody else also said that in the chat, that he's trying to change people's opinion of him. I'm going to, I know that I haven't really been very interactive with everybody, but I will also be adding my email address to the About page after I'm done with this live. Not yet, but when I'm done. So that some of you can email me, because I know that there are some people who have shared stories but have wished that they can send it through an email so it's more private, or if you want to send suggestions about cases I should look at. I definitely want to put that out there so I can connect to you all more. I thought that Ash was short for Ashley. I have a little sister named Ashley. I and B, but that is not my real name. My real name is Brittany. He may be going the other way. Where are you all from? I know that Reggie is from Ireland, but where's everybody else from? Hi, Lucy. North Carolina. I have an aunt that lives in North Carolina. UK, oh my goodness. Which part of the UK? New Orleans. Yes, true crime, Troy, New Orleans. San Diego, California. I am from the Bronx, New York. And if I could, I can't, but if I could show you out my window, you'd be able to see the Yankee Stadium. Fayetteville, where Chris is from. Oh my goodness. So you're really close to everything. The consequences of their conversation resulted in him strangling her to death. Yeah, I made it, it almost sounded like victim blaming. I'm sure he didn't intend for it to be that way, but think about it from his shoes. He's the one who has to speak on it. And how do you relay information like that? I thought the attorneys did a pretty good job of being very sensitive to Shanann and the girls and Nico. Alberta, Canada. Tatting Girl, what part of New York are you in? What borough? Lucy, I don't think he's telling the whole truth. I think he's telling the truth with embellishments, and, you know, I don't think that's the last we're going to hear of a confession. I feel like in a couple more months we're going to hear another confession. Although if somebody else is involved, like they're alluding to in the episode, this case is going to be everywhere. Oh, Brooklyn. You live near Christopher Wallace Street? Queens. I like Queens. Hi, guys. Hey, Don. Once here and eat at Dominic's. Little Italian restaurant. I'll have to check that out. Dominic's. Oh, I'm giving your city a shout out. Nice. I'm actually originally from Houston, Texas. Is anybody here from Texas? No Texans in the chats? That's okay. Who was it in the chat who said that this sounded like the Susan Powell case? Riverwalk. Yeah, I used to go to school at UTSA way back in the day before I transferred undergrads, but I haven't been to college in quite some time. I'm older than many of you think. I think so too, but I didn't see it here. Sorry, I'm just looking through something. Yeah, I'm older than I look. No, I'm not in my early 20s. I'm in my late 20s. Yeah, on the similarities of the other case, the Susan Powell case. I wonder if he... I don't know. Somebody said that Chris had copied a movie, and that's where he got the idea. But I also wonder, like, what was he watching before? Like, was he watching true crime? Was he... I mean, we got his Google history, I think, or his computer history, so we know that he wasn't searching up things. Oh, thanks. I don't think... I think he did it because she wouldn't have had an abortion. Oh, you think that Chris wanted her to have an abortion? Is that what you're saying, Blair Bush Project? I wish that I could see... This is only the second live I've ever done, but I wish that I could see, Oh, here it is. Okay. Heartbreaking. Prayers for Shanann's family. Sadly, Frank and Frankie... This has to be devastating hearing about Bella's last moments on Earth. We had soul crushing for the family. I think even the mom had stated it was as if they all were in the ocean. Oh, was I off? Oh, I'm sorry. I was wondering because when I look at the phone, because I'm streaming from the phone, it shows the timer running. But in order to see the chat while I'm on the phone without the little bubbles popping up, I look on the computer and I couldn't see anything on the computer. Sorry about that. I don't know why. You know, YouTube needs to fix this. If they're going to allow people to do lives, they need to make it so it actually really doesn't kick out. And I noticed that on the other people's live, it does the same thing. Sorry about that, Blair Bush. And everybody else. Oh yeah. Well, let me ask because he might be camera shy. Richard.
What?
They're asking to meet you. Will you come over? Will you come say hi?
Oh my gosh.
They think that you somebody said that you look like somebody on a previous comment.
Harry Connick Jr.?
No, not that. This is Richard.
Hi.
And he's growing his beard out.
Yeah.
He has like the Prince stash. How are you, Richard?
Why am I like looking at the phone and then seeing
so I can see what they say on the chat. How are you, Richard?
I'm good. How are you?
Guys,
who said that?
Guys, Ashley.
Ashley, how you doing? What's going on?
Guys who cook are awesome. Yeah, he's the...
Paula Brown said adorable. Thank you.
He's the master chef here. He's cooking sausage and peppers.
Sausage, peppers, and onions.
She wants to know.
Sit in a crock pot on low for 12 hours. You let it hang out all night. When you get home, it's done.
She said, "Where are you from?" Ashley said that.
Where am I from?
Yeah. You're good.
America.
You're good. You need to stop it. Tell her where you're from.
I'm from America.
New Jersey.
I was born and raised in America.
In New Jersey. He's from New Jersey.
And Florida.
I have people on here from Ireland and from the UK and from Canada and from North Carolina. All over the place. I think it's absolutely amazing. True Crime said low and slow is the key. We watched a couple of his videos.
Oh. Yeah.
We've been together for 3 years. And we just celebrated our anniversary, 3 years.
Well, 3 years in like 3 weeks.
Oh, she said, "Are you a Guido?"
A Guido? No, I'm German, which is Guten.
I hope you're saying it right.
Oh yeah. And a little bit of
Thanks,
English.
Ashley. Because we live in New York City, you know, rent is really expensive, so we live in a studio apartment. But I am that he allows me to post the videos, and he listens to all these different theories or the facts of cases, and lets me watch things on the TV, like true crime that he wasn't interested in before, but he's slowly getting into it.
So when's
Scottish,
that,
Argentinian?
Argentina, baby.
I'm a Scot. Bahia Blanca, is that how you say that? We should do videos together.
Well,
Rich has his own channel that he has started called Trader Tricks, and he does
trade tricks of the trade.
Yeah, like welding and building.
How to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Why pay a plumber when you can just do it yourself? I teach how to do things. Stuff like that. Anyway.
Spanish, Portuguese, and Mexican. Wow.
I can't read what they're saying.
It's right here. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Pasta's cooking.
Can I send a link on the chat?
I don't know.
Let me see. Let me type this in real quick.
Argentina.
He just started his channel, so be nice to him. But I think I think Rich takes better videos than I do. His videos always seem to come out crisp and clear in the audio. Like if you are a person who is into that, what is that called, AMSR type of stuff, it sounds really, his videos sound nice. It has that satisfaction when you listen to it. Drop that dog and get that pasta. That dog is so cute. They're saying you threw Zombie. You dropped him.
No, I didn't.
I don't know if you can hear Zombie in the background. He's playing by himself, but he sounds like a zombie sometimes. Well, I want to know if there are any other aspects of the case that you would like to talk about. I also want to know if you like these lives. I tend to get a little bit nervous on the lives, but if it's something that you guys like, I will definitely get the courage to do more of them. Thanks, Ashley. If that's something you guys are interested in. But I feel like all the points about the Dr. Phil episode, I already talked about it. Unless there's other topics that you guys are interested in discussing, I'd like to actually know more about you all's life, because you guys aren't just subscribers, you guys are people. I think the CBI went to tell Chris Watts that they had examined the shadows and that it was going to be published. You know, I've heard of people on YouTube solving crimes, and I've also been on Web Sleuths, and some of them have solved crimes. You know, all these videos are public, and I would not be surprised if, you know, some of the true crimers, if their videos are being watched. Although I mean, Dr. Phil asked about why did they go there, and I think that they stated something about how they were trying to fill in the gaps, and also because there's another investigation on somebody else, and they're trying to get more information on that. No, I think they went to see him. I don't think he asked for them, for the agents to go, to come, if that makes any sense. Thanks, Paula. I definitely will try to do more lives. Yeah, we got really lucky with our apartment. One of these days I'll do a full tour. Our apartment is only 349 square feet. I have a view of Manhattan and the George Washington Bridge. So it looked very beautiful at night. But we got really lucky with the apartment having a separate kitchen and a big bathroom and big closets. I know it doesn't look big, but we got really lucky. And it just happened by chance, which is kind of how a lot of people find their apartments in New York. Pursue the truth, they said. They didn't want to talk in detail about other people being involved, because they said something about how it was still an open investigation. But I do believe that they said, hold on one second. They said, why did they go in? Or that's what Dr. Phil said. Why did they go in to see Chris? And then the attorney replied, another person is being investigated. And they were looking for other avenues to be explored. That's what they said. And then he also said something about not wanting to go into detail. I just remember that part. I didn't write the rest of it down. I was trying to get most of the highlights. I do agree that Bella's language may be advanced, but you have him telling, so it could be what a parent does when saying what a child says. You use your own words to convey the meaning. I think you're right, Alan, and welcome. I don't think I saw you earlier. I think you're a little bit behind on the chat. That's okay. Tatting Girl, you would like a tour? We just have to make sure that we get all of our shelving and stuff placed in before I show the apartment. I don't know if you can see that in the kitchen, but Rich built that. I don't know if I can show it. Here it is. Let me see, right there. He built that shelving. Also shelving in the bathroom. Especially as NK's phone pinged in Frederick, And there is a shadow photo, very disturbing, which looks like Cece being held by a woman. Oh, thank you. I just really hope that, let me rephrase. I'm so glad that Chris finally admitted that Shanann was not the one to hurt Cece and Bella. But I also really hope that when we watch those tapes on the 7th, that he is being truthful, and it does bring some type of closure to the situation. A difficult closure, though. It's definitely a difficult kind of closure. I think everybody said the girls were dead, and now the shadows were true, all a new game. I think whenever many of the people who were looking into the case, it's hard to think. It's hard to imagine that he would drive them for 45 minutes somewhere else, because it's just horrifying. It's a horrifying situation. And I think we all hoped that he had not. And so those are the conclusions that we made, because it's just a burden on your heart, on your soul, to know that he drove those girls to the oil site with their mother in the back of the truck. It's just hard. You heard it will be just audio. I hope that's not the case, but possibly. I really hope it's not the case, because then I feel that they can cut stuff out and we wouldn't know. I also feel like whenever you're able to see somebody's face with the audio, it's easier to discern if they're telling the truth or not. I don't know, Paula. I don't know if they're just audio tapes. That's what some people are saying. I don't know if he's being cornered to tell the truth. That's the thing. I don't know. Because there's nothing else that they can do to him. Or at least I don't think that they can do to him. So the last piece of information that he has is the actual details. They will let him lie just like before. I don't think they're letting him lie. I think he just can't stop lying. He doesn't really want the full truth to come out. He's lied from the beginning. And he thought he was good at it, but it was very obvious to everybody else that he was a liar. Maybe he's decided a death wish. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, if he was just confessing. Linda, I think you were around when we talked about this. Oh, maybe not. Somebody has suggested that he finally is telling these details so somebody would hurt him in prison, or maybe that he was contemplating suicide. I think if he was going that route of trying to get somebody to hurt him in prison, he could have found other avenues to do that. As far as the suicide thing, I don't think he would do that to himself. I think he's that narcissistic, and that he wouldn't do it to himself. Yeah. Yeah, I think some shady stuff would have happened if this was not, if many people weren't looking into this case. The Diplomat. He's reading the entire discovery. I'll have to check out his voice. I'm a huge sucker for people on YouTube who have really great voices, and then I like to fall asleep listening to their voices. Another great YouTuber who did something similar is the Rambling Mommy blog, or the Mommy Rambling blog. I'm sure many of you have come across her channel. I think she did a really good job, especially when the case files just came out, because it's a lot to listen through, or to read through, and so a lot of people were really happy that she read through them. You know what I saw on, when you upload a video and when people see, when the views come in, you can see how people search for your video. And somebody searched on their unintentional AMSR, or whatever that thing is called, ASMR. But when I hear my voice, it sounds nasally. But thank you for the compliment. Alan, are you caught up? That's okay. Don't worry about it. Oh, thanks, Tatting Girl. I've always wondered, you know, North Korea said that I don't have an iPhone, so what's it called, FaceTime? That the FaceTime chat she had with Chris creeped her out. But even the days afterwards, she still texted and called him. I just find that so strange, even knowing after what that he was being about his wife and children being missing, she still texted and called as well. I also think that this case is very similar to others, but at the same time so unlike other cases, because everything in this case, like all the evidence, or just about all the evidence, has been released. Incongruent. And thanks, Paula. Very strange, that lady. Yes, that seems so incongruent. Do any of you go on the blog Crime Rocket? crimerocket.com. If you have not been there, I would highly recommend it. This guy does an amazing analysis of the different pieces of evidence. How are there so many pages not released to the public? I heard 200. You know, wasn't there a page in the discovery file that said that it was not complete? I wonder if those 200 pages are part of the incomplete part of the investigation. I didn't think it could get any worse than what was initially stated as well. It's absolutely horrible. It's every time this case pops back up, there's information that's more devastating than the next. Oh, thanks, Paula. I'm gonna have to figure out, because I've said this before, this is my first time doing, or the second time doing a live. I don't know how to make people mods and stuff. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. I know I'm clicking a lot because I'm trying to see if I click on people's names, if it'll do it. Oh, it's how you do it. Cool. Let me know if you want to be a moderator, and then I can just put you as one. Or we all can moderate each other. No, I do want to say thank you, though, to everybody who has been watching and supporting this channel, because everybody has been so nice to each other, very polite to each other, respectful to each other, and I find that to be rare on YouTube channels nowadays. I mean, there are a couple people who are outliers and do say things, but usually whenever I ask them to be respectful, they come back and they are pretty much respectful to everybody. So I just want to thank you all for being very considerate of each other's thoughts and opinions, because this is an open discussion in an open forum. You guys have been so lovely. You get a few ugly comments. You know what? True crime Troy, but mostly positive. I get comments too. But, and you know, the first time that I heard or I read the ugly comments, it really hurt my feelings. But then when you start to ignore it, it's like, okay, there's another one. And then you move on, and then there's like 4 or 5 other comments that are extremely positive, and I genuinely think that people on here, bye Linda, oh thank you, I will enjoy it, I hope you have a good dinner. I think there are people on here who are genuinely nice and who mean well, and that there are just people, you know, who are always going to say something to get a reaction out of other people. Thank you, Paula. Just remove them. Just being trolls. Absolutely, they are being trolls. Alright, unless there is any other thing that you all want to talk about, I am getting quite hungry. It's been a long day today. Sausage and peppers. It's been cooking. I know Rich told you this, but it's been cooking for hours. And so even after coming home from work, you know, the smell, it's just everywhere. And oh, it smells so good. But I do want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you from Queens. Thank you from Northern Ireland. Thank you from North Carolina. Thank you guys from Canada. You guys are amazing. Are you going to do a video after tomorrow? Well, my plan is to, real quick, I am going to upload a video soon. I've already written out everything I wanted to say and the facts that I wanted to introduce. The next case I'm going to talk about is the Matthew Podolak case. This is a mystery case. It happened back in 2006 with his girlfriend possibly putting antifreeze in his iced tea, or some people also think that he committed suicide by drinking the antifreeze. So look forward to that. I hope it'll be a really informative video for you all. But thank you, Patty. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Jan Scott Jackson. If you would like me to do, are you asking me if I'm going to do a video tomorrow, like a live? Jane Scott? Bon appetit. Yes, everyone, kiss a dog. Thank you. If I do a live tomorrow, do you want me to talk about the Chris Watts case, or you want me to talk about other cases? Yeah, it's Chris Watts. Okay, yeah, I can come on tomorrow. I won't be on until later, though, because I work later tomorrow. So I probably won't be on until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. LV asks, why do you think they release so much so soon? It's very unusual. Seems insensitive to the family. I think that they release so much so soon is due to people requesting the files. What is it called? The Freedom of Information Act. So they kind of had to release some of the information. I think in all these types of true crime cases, nobody wins, and so the family's always going to feel, I mean, it's always going to seem insensitive to the family because they're experiencing it firsthand. And anybody who requests the information, or if the police have to release, you know, the evidence, it's not viewed this in the same aspect. I don't know if I'm making that, I don't know if I'm saying that in the correct way, but there's a difference. Does that make sense? Maybe somebody else in the chat can say that much better than I can. Critique on the release on Thursday, the 7th would be great. I will definitely be back on the 7th, and the 11th for the second Dr. Phil episode. Although I think Dr. Phil episode, I think it's when I watched the preview, it just seemed like he was retelling Shanann's family what the attorney said. So I don't think there's going to be any new information. But it's definitely going to be a really sad episode. Yeah. All right. With that said, I am definitely going to go have dinner now. And I hope that you are going to have a great evening and a great night. And I hope that you all stay safe. And thank you so much for joining my live. All right. Bye.